Okay, so I'm gonna push the start button now and see how it unfolds. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
We are live. Okay, by the time people join in, we can... Okay, everybody. Hello, Kate. Hello, Karen. Can you hear us? Once again, hello, Karen. Hello, Kate. Thank you so much. I just wanted to make sure everybody can hear. Going to start sharing the screen. Right. Hello, Simon. Just waiting for a few more people to come on board and then we will kick this off. So just 2 more minutes and then we should be going on. Yeah, people are joining in, so it's best to give them a couple of more minutes. And I should be finishing my coffee in the meantime. Hello, Joanna. Hello, Latoya. Hello, Sylvina. Everybody, welcome on board. Sorry, I may not be able to call everybody's name, but I can see you all coming in. Thank you so much once again. Okay, I'm about to share my screen. I think we are about to kick off. I believe everybody can see the screen. So, hello once again. Good afternoon. My name is Kayam. I own, manage, and run Fortress. We are a firm of chartered accountants. based in Hainault, Essex. That is about us. Don't want to bore you with our details. I'll be later on joined by James Hackett. James is representing Evolve Apprentices. Evolve is a non-profit organization that manages apprenticeship schemes in London. Evolve has designed a package to match the various needs of employees using particular Kickstart scheme that we are talking today. I will let James to elaborate on this later on in the process. He will take over from me once I've gone through the basics of the Kickstart scheme. So to start with the good news, all employers, if you can offer 6-month job placements to young people, the government will fully fund the position. It can't go better than that. I think among all of the schemes we have seen introduced during the pandemic, we really like this scheme because this has a lot of meat on the bone. This is really going to open up a lot of venues, a lot of jobs. So that's why I think there is a lot of focus. A lot of people are asking about this scheme. What is this scheme? How as an employer you can possibly benefit from it? How you can help young people to get on board? All the details, who is eligible, who is not eligible, what are the ins and outs of this scheme. So I will try to summarize all of these things in next few slides. Try not to make it too boring, try to keep it short and sweet. I know you will have lots of questions about it. If you have a question, fire away. We will try to answer some of the questions here during this session, but if we can't answer your specific question, we will come back to you on this one. That's my promise to you. So what is this scheme all about? So the scheme, basically, back in July 2020, Chancellor announced this plan for jobs. The aim of this was to create thousands of new jobs, high quality jobs, targeting young people, because that was the fear, like due to pandemic, the youngsters will be the biggest affectees in terms of jobs. So a lot of people are on universal credit. So government decided, okay, we're going to help them. And that's why this scheme was launched and targeted at young people. Obviously, this is the new generation and we all have a responsibility and duty to support them. So this scheme is purely for 16 to 24 youngsters who are on universal credit and they are on risk of long-term unemployment. So in the beginning, when the scheme was launched back in July, it was only made available to the organization who have or could offer more than 30 job placements. Over the period of time, when the time passes by, the government realized and various other platforms raised the attention to this particular point, like why individual small business employers who are 90% of the economy can't apply directly themselves, and why they need to rely on bigger organizations. So government had a change of heart, change of mind, and then now it is open to everybody. Anybody who owns a business, runs a business, and fulfill certain criteria can apply themselves online. Businesses like you and me, we all can do it. We can go online, fill up the application form, and become part of this scheme. This scheme is subject to approval by DWP. So yes, there is an application process, and you can do it yourself. If you feel that to be overwhelming, there are gateways, there are intermediaries who already have the approval by DWP, and that could be a simpler and easier way to do it. We will talk a little detail about intermediaries and how you can apply yourself in next few slides. So the question we have been asked and raised by a number of our clients and even outside our client base is, what is this scheme and what do we get as an employer? So the promise by the Chancellor is we will get 100% of the national minimum wage. National minimum wage, as we all know, varies with the age. For example, if somebody is under 18, the minimum wage is 462. And if somebody is 23 and over, it's 891, 8.91 and over. But again, you don't need to worry if you are offering or you've been accepted and you can offer this placement. The government will fully fund this position. 25 hours are the minimum hours that the new placements need to be at your place and work and learn. The government will also pay employer national insurance too. So there will be absolutely zero cost to you employing anybody from this particular scheme. And also the pension contributions. So as an employer, you have to pay, obviously, employer national insurance to pay the taxes and the pensions. Everything is taken care by the government in this instance. And then there is one big incentive here. The government is also offering you £1,500 per job placement. So, for example, if you are going to have one job placement, you'll be paid 1,500. Two means £3,000. But that is one off. A lot of people have been asking me, is it every month or is it repeating? Now is initial £1,500. So you can possibly, if you need a new infrastructure, you need new computer, laptops, any other technology, you might need to spend your own time, maybe one of your staff time. So everything costs you money as an employer, and the government does recognize this, appreciates this. That's why there is a £1,500 per job placement being offered to you once you're accepted. And the deadline for job placements is December 2021. So there is no real rush to it. There's a lot of time, but yeah, these positions will get filled. I'm sure a lot of people, lots of employers are interested in this scheme. So yeah, it is advisable to get on board as early as possibly you can, but do not rush into it. Seek help if you need to, but there is sufficient time, to make use of this particular scheme. So what is the criteria? So what you need to know as an employer. The scheme insists that this placement must be a new job. You cannot replace somebody or somebody's job, for example, because the incentive is to create more jobs, new jobs, and not to replace current jobs. You should be able to offer 25 hours per week minimum, and for a period of 6 months, and pay at least minimum wage. The minimum wage will be funded by the government. There is no limit. If you like somebody and you want them to work for you, you can pay them higher than that, but minimum wage will be funded by the government. And also, you can offer them basic training. And the job must not require highly skilled area. For example, I, as an accountant, cannot ask a 16 to 24 years old to be fully qualified accountant and start producing accounts, maybe, or start doing tax returns, maybe some admin tasks, maybe a little bit of here, little bit of there. But obviously, the task must be able to help them learn something as a result of this placement. And what it must not do, as I said, it must be a new job, but it must not replace any existing or planned vacancies that you have in mind. And it also applies to contractors too. So it must not, if you are outsourcing some work or you have some subcontractor, it must not replace those things too. You cannot fire an employee and hire somebody because this is a 6-month paid position, funded position by the government. So that is also not allowed. So a bit of care need to be taken here. So when you're filling up the form, all these questions will be asked in the application form. And if you need some help, we are here to help you. Also, because the government is supporting the scheme, they expect from you that you will be giving support to these youngsters coming on board in terms of obtaining long-term work. You can help them in multiple ways. So, you can help them building a CV. Being an employer, you know what other employers are looking for, from smart dressing maybe to smart talking to smart CV, to any other particular skills that you can help them with. It is deeply appreciated. And that's what AIM is. So these youngsters, after 6 months, when they finish working with you under this job placement, they can go into the open world and find themselves more employable once they have spent 6 months with you. So that is the Kickstart scheme. That's the basics. That's the criteria. That's the eligibility that we just discussed. And as I mentioned in the beginning, is a gateway. You can apply yourself through this gateway, or you can use one of the intermediaries, who act as a gateway. So the gateway, as I said, is an agreement between DWP and the employer or the gateway holders. So they can add employees or employers and job placements. And they will provide you with a continuous flow of the youngsters who are looking for a certain job. If you're looking somebody in the marketing, or you're looking somebody in the finance, or if you're looking somebody in a creative side, whatever area you're looking for, I'm sure there is tons of people who have some basic skills and come and help you. So the Kickstart gateways basically ask you to, when you apply, they ask you basic information. They will be gathering information. What is the placement like? What is the purpose of this job? And these gateways will then act as intermediary and share the information with the DWP, and DWP then provide you the funding, comes to the gateway, and the gateway ultimately pays you. There are advantages of it, obviously, because it takes a lot of admin and a lot of work that goes through behind the scenes. So that is taken care by the gateway. And how does this work? What is the application process? There is an online link, which we will be sharing with all of you who, after this session, we will share it with you. You can go directly to the link, apply as a business yourself. As I mentioned earlier, you will need to provide all the information. What is this job placement? What you're going to do, how you're going to support young people. All of these questions are asked in that application form, along with your company registration number and your contact details, obviously, and details of the job placement. As I mentioned earlier, all of these things will be taken care of within that application. It's one link. To our experience, it's pretty easy, but it's pretty hard when it comes to getting the approval. So not many people having had a chance to successfully go through it. So yeah, so we are using a bit of both, sometimes gateways, and sometimes we encourage people to go and apply directly themselves and see how it unfolds. We don't know the process. There is no appeal process, so we don't know how the applications are being assessed. And within the application, if you want to be successful, obviously you need to explain, you need to emphasize how your job placement are new, because that is the basic criteria and is created for the scheme. How will you support the young people? All of these things that I just talked about. And again, applying, how do you apply? Simple, go online. You can apply yourself or use one of the gateways. Both options are available to you. The gateways is a specialist area, obviously, and that's where I think people like James, an organization like Evolves, come in, because they have experience in doing all this work. They know what DWP might be looking for. They have all the resources in place that can handle this kind of work. So I will now pass on to James. James, please come and tell us how this will work on your end. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kyan. That was really good. That was very informative, and I think that sets me up nicely, really, to explain what the gateway does. I'd like to just start, I'll share my screen and just start by introducing Evolve. I manage Evolve. If I can just show you initially our website, just to give you a bit of background as to why we came to be a gateway company, is because Evolve, predominantly we run this, what's called the shared apprenticeship scheme. You can see my screen, Kyan, okay?
Yeah, perfectly.
Yeah. Great. So yeah, we run the shared apprenticeship scheme. Basically involves us using host employers to employ apprentices. So in construction, which is the area of expertise we had at the start of the company, they only have short-term placements available for apprentices. So they take them on for a short while and then they move to another site, and we manage that whole process basically. So in dealing with employers and providing pastoral support to the apprentices as well, we thought, well, the gateway is a good fit for us as an organisation to become involved in. We also have quite a lot of experience in these sorts of programs. My own experience is in welfare to work. I've worked for the DWP and I've worked for private providers and housing associations on their employability schemes, as have some of our directors. And all of us are actually involved in what was called the Future Jobs Fund. I don't know if you recall that, Kyan, but it was about a decade ago, a very similar scheme to Kickstart that was run. So I'm sure there's been a lot of learning on a lot of people's parts, really. So that's evolved. So we came into it because, yeah, as Kyan says, they said to small employers, you can't apply without a gateway. So we registered as a gateway. And then I think it was January where they said, no, actually, you can apply directly. So that's fine, employers can. However, the offer of using a company like us is still available. We've put together a package of what we're able to offer employers. It's here on our website. Essentially, we would be helping employers to apply for the Kickstart. Just one point on what you mentioned, Kyan. Yeah, there is that opportunity for it to be more than 25 hours if you so choose. That is something you'd be arranging with the candidates themselves. But basically, we're trying to offer pretty much everything that we can in terms of the process. So if a company comes to us and is saying that they're interested, we are applying directly to the DWP with the details. We are monitoring that application. We're helping the organisations that we're helping to make sure the application is as good as it can be and it's going to be accepted. Kyan's right. There's not a whole lot of information as to why some companies are being rejected. A couple of examples we had in the early on, or we heard about, were companies perhaps asking for too many jobs. So if a company's only got, say, 3 employees, but they were applying for 30 jobs via Kickstart, that's the sort of thing they certainly would reject. I think there may be some element of looking at a company's history as well, maybe their filing history and stuff like that, Kyan, just to ensure that these are good placements, because obviously the government are keen that these are good placements with good employers. So we're accepted as a gateway, so we just apply to add to the work that we're doing with the employer details. That's taking a couple of weeks from that very first application to the DWP for us to add an employer to our current application. And then we're submitting the vacancy details to the DWP. The DWP are then saying they can take a month to upload the job, and they are uploading that to their internal systems at the job centre. The job centre are the only people that can refer to the job. So it must be someone that the job centre are deeming is at risk of long-term unemployment. So even though, and we've spoken to employers that have done this, you might know somebody on universal credit and think they will be suitable for the job, you can refer them once we've got a live ID for a job, but it would still be the job centre that has that end decision on whether that person can apply for the job and is eligible for this programme. Can't stop me if there's anything you want to let you know, any questions or anything in the meantime. But,
no, it's fine. Go ahead.
And then in terms of, we've got the vacancy live. We are happy to help employers with the recruitment process if they choose. We would probably recommend that our details are given to DWP for applications so that we can monitor it best. So if there's any CVs coming through, we will get them, and then we can do a sift, or we can just send on every CV that we've got. We have been even arranging interviews for employers as well as part of the process. Once the person starts, we need to let the DWP know, and then it is for the employer to give them a contract of employment for the 6 months. And then we're still there during the process. So what they're calling the wraparound support, employability, is one of our areas of expertise. And these are the sorts of things here on the screen that we are providing. CV reviews, arranging interviews, interview preparation, careers guidance. We're giving access to young people, access to our health assured scheme as well, because it's got sort of things along the lines of advice and guidance about mental health issues, for instance. And we've got a library of online resources, so we might pass over Word or Excel as a kind of development point for the people starting the positions, as an example. We're happy to be talking to employers about apprenticeships, for instance. I mean, we're obviously got an expertise in that because we run an apprenticeship scheme. They are hoping that maybe people that complete the Kickstart scheme will follow on to an apprenticeship. So that could be something you want to explore. There's incentives for employers as well as part of this plan for jobs that the government have put out there. So there's some incentives to take apprentices on. So after that's done, the Kickstart placement, that might be something you want some advice on. And as a gateway, we're transferring the payments. So they've said once you get that first payment, you must transfer it to the employers within 11 days. And we've built a system to ensure that we're able to do that. Kym has touched on the employee setup costs. So there's £1,500 paid initially. And for us to be part of the process, we were asking for half of the employee setup costs, £750. The other £750 we're going to pass over. I think the real advantage of using a gateway at the moment is all around this, the wraparound support, and the fact that we already are registered with the DWP. When you fill out the application, they say to you, what employability support will you provide? I'm assuming that if we're saying, yes, it's coming from us and they've already approved it, that part is done from our side. If you're an individual employer putting that information down, I don't know how easy it is to answer it or not. We've obviously got an eye on the jobs themselves and all the criteria there that Kym's mentioned. We will ensure that you're meeting that criteria, or do our best in discussion to ensure that employers are meeting that criteria. There is an organisation called the Youth Friendly Employer. They offer a lot of advice for employers of young people. We're asking any employer that we're helping to sign up for that as well, so that they're getting that additional advice and guidance. I've got a couple of other pieces of information as well. We've got a workflow here. This basically tells us exactly the process, timelines, etc. Now, I think it's fair to say the DWP are not necessarily meeting some of their own timelines at the moment. But this at least gives us guidance on terms of what should be happening. So we've got that all laid out here. We're detailing to any employers we're working with where we're going to pass the payments and when we're going to do it, and how the process works at the very start as well. That's something obviously that I can share with anybody that's interested. And then there was just one other slide that I wanted to show you as well, and that was just the vacancy template. So basically, what information do you have to provide to the DWP when applying for a job? Once we've got confirmation the job has been accepted by DWP, this is what it looks like. This is what we send on to them. This is what we ask our employers to complete for us. It's not actually very difficult at all. It's just a summary of the job placement, the skills that are needed. This is where you get to decide whether you want to increase the hours or not, and put in a working pattern as well for the position. The rate of pay, if you want to pay more, as Kym rightly says, they are going to fund the minimum wage. If you want to add on to that, that's where you could advertise and pay a bit more. This is the bit that we're able to fill out for you, details of employability support. We have a standard package that we know will be approved by DWP. This is one that's kind of causing a bit of an issue, the closing date. So because they're taking quite a while to look at applications, we just need to make sure that's quite a while in the future, otherwise we won't get applications through. And then here is where I would advise that we put down us. If we put our details rather than yours, we'll be getting the CVs, and then we know the job's live and we can be chasing if it's not. Otherwise, for some reason, they're not telling us, the gateway, when the job is live. They'll just tell the employer directly, and that's caused a bit of confusion as well. So because it's a new scheme, there have been a few issues, and we're in a good position, I think, to work those out with employers. We've assigned somebody to the scheme to manage it, a lady called Valeria. She's got a level 5 qualification in learning and development. She's currently doing an IAG qualification, and she's got the experience mentoring our apprentices as well. So she's in a good position to offer the advice and guidance. We've set up an initial assessment we do with all the candidates that start jobs, and then we'll be having regular interventions, either 1 or 2 week intervals, where we're checking in with them, ensuring they're okay. And we've got a national reach. I mean, with everything that's gone on, we're doing all our work digitally, remotely anyway. So we're just conducting most of these in this way, online, with the Kickstart candidates as well. I hope I haven't missed anything there. Just want to just go back to that. I mean, really, the process. If anybody was interested, it's quick to get it up and running with us. I mean, if somebody said to us, "Yeah, I'm interested," and they knew what they wanted to advertise, it's really just 1 or 2 forms that we would need completed, and then we would submit to the DWP. Then I think we're probably looking at 2 or 3 weeks to get approval from the DWP. Then we're probably looking at another month to get the vacancies uploaded by the DWP. Then we're looking at time to get candidates sent through by the DWP, and then you can start somebody. I think that hopefully the process will get quicker. I know they reopened the job centres this week, so that may have an impact. Maybe we'll start to see more people applying for the jobs now that they're open. I think that is it in a nutshell, Kayam. I don't know if you feel there's anything else that maybe you'd like answered. I think you may be on mute, Kayam. Sorry, Kayam, I think you're on mute.
Can you hear me, James?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, James, everybody, sorry, I was mute, didn't realize. But yeah, thank you so much once again. You have really helped us understanding how organization like Evolve can help employers getting over all of this red tape and all of this form filling and get it done quickly. Yes, it can be done individually, but yeah, I think a lot of people, even small to medium-sized businesses, do not have a luxury of time, to get over all of these things themselves. So paying a small amount of fee, not even out of your pocket, that would be really, really great idea. But yeah, if you want to apply yourself, the links are coming on its way soon, pretty soon. But yeah, I haven't seen any questions so far from anybody, but if you do have a question, please feel free to share. Even after, once we are finished, you can all, send an email, call us, talk to us. If you need services from James, let us know. We'll let James know, so you both can be in touch directly to each other. And yeah, and that is pretty much the basis of this scheme. So I really don't want to bore you with all the things, but here is the questions have started coming in now. So let's spend a few more minutes and try to answer these questions. So Karen is asking, can we speak to an employer who have used James' services? So James, would you be able to answer the question for Karen?
Yeah, sure. I assume, Karen, you're looking at probably a testimonial there, that kind of thing. Most definitely. Yeah, I mean, we've had the best example, because there haven't been that many start, even though we were one of the first gateways approved. The way that certain delays have meant we haven't had a lot of people start, but we've had some start with a couple of employers. So absolutely, if they were happy to speak to you, then we could put you in touch. Yeah. If you'd like to,
yeah.
If you drop me your email address there, I can speak to him and ask him to have a chat with you.
Yeah, I will be able to share all the details with you, James. So Rina is asking, James, again, could you share the templates and the work club? Which I have it already, I believe, and I can share it with everybody. So Rina, I hope that does answer your question. Yes, it's possible. I'll be able to share it. Shiraz is asking, we have applied few times for the scheme, but we got rejected and we do not know what is the reason. James, would you elaborate on it? I think we have touched on this topic. Yeah. There is no appeal process, unfortunately. They're not explaining why, but from experience, we're kind of gathering, like it could be the size of the company, it could be you apply for too many jobs, maybe. Could be you were unable to explain why and how you will have the new jobs, how you will help the new young employees. So James, go ahead, please. I think this is your expert area.
Yeah, I mean, it must be frustrating. What I will say is what happened to us, we had to name the employers. We had to get 30 jobs ready, and then we had to apply to DWP because of the initial 30 job minimum. We did that, and some of the employers got rejected, and we didn't get any information as to why. Then out of the blue in January, they wrote to us and said that all of the jobs now have been accepted for all of the employers that we'd originally put in. So just explain some of how hard it is to actually pin down what the reasons are when you've had a rejection at one point and then an approval. I did touch on it, Kayam. I think the size, the number of jobs. I mean, we're stating obviously that there haven't been any redundancies made. I don't think that they're able to look into things in that detail. I wouldn't have thought, Kayam, the DWP. So it is difficult. It's not consistent. I think the age of a company may well be a factor. There's certainly a couple of young companies that were fairly newly formed that had never submitted any company accounts. That was another issue for one of them, for sure. But as I say, they then reversed it and they've all been accepted. But I think that they're probably now they've accepted all of those, they're still, I hear they are still rejecting some employers.
I will also add to it, Shiraz. I would definitely recommend you to apply again, as there is no limit to how many times you can apply. So I believe after this conversation that we had today, you may have learned a few more tips on the things that they may be looking at. Because up to my view, I think, yes, the size of the company, age of the company, your job requirements, what area you're looking for, plus I think what support you're going to provide to the placements, it's really, really important. So I would say, review the application, try to go and explain in more detail. And maybe that will be helpful. And maybe you'll be able to crack the code where things have gone wrong. Again, we don't know exactly, where applications are getting rejected, but we know for a fact a lot of them are getting rejected by individual employers. So we don't know why, but yeah, keep on applying. The number of approved employers are every day increasing. So it means there is something happening. A lot of people are getting accepted too. So do not get disheartened, keep applying for it. And it's not end of the world. Again, if you can't apply yourself and you don't get accepted, there are organizations like Evolve and people like James who can help you getting these things done a lot quicker and a lot easier. So that is the kind of things, when government introduce such schemes, they sometimes, leave it to individual consultants to work on it and understand it and maybe able to work it better, because they're launched usually in a rush. They don't consider every aspect of it. And you've seen it during pandemic, all the schemes coming in, company directors were losing a lot because most of them on minimum salary and they didn't get anything. So yeah, government schemes have certain shortfalls, but we need to accept it.
Be interesting to know there, Shiraz, if you've used a gateway as well, or whether you applied directly. But yeah, as to follow up from Kayam, we'd be happy to discuss it with you. It might be worth, if you haven't used the gateway, it might be worth trying that out, and we can.
Yeah. Okay, so can't see any further questions coming in. Hope, Shiraz, it answers your question. If not, please, talk to us one-on-one, and we'll try to help you. But yeah, because we are up with the time, so I hope this session was useful. You will have learned something out of it, and we have learned a lot out of it. Well, before we go, Simon is asking a question, so we'll try to answer your question, Simon. We still have 4 minutes to go. So what if you already have a person in mind that you want to employ? James, you have touched upon this already.
Yeah, so the person needs to be on universal credit, and I think I mentioned they need to be approved by the job centre, deemed at risk of long-term unemployment. So the job centre will have the final discretion on that decision. But if you have somebody in mind, once you've got the vacancy ID, the person would need to approach their job work coach at the job centre and tell them they want to apply and see if they can get put forward for it. Then the application just comes through to you, and it's as straightforward as you saying, yeah, this is the person I want. But they will need to go to their work coach initially, once your job's live.
I hope this answered your question, Simon. So is there any other question? If there is no question, we would like to close this session for now. but it's just closing online. But please, our emails are open, our lines are open. Do call us, do ring us, discuss if you need to still discuss. Once again, thank you everybody coming on board, listening to this session. Thank you very much, James, giving us the support and all the education and all the information. And yes, we will be again back soon and discussing some other topic. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Kayam.
For the rest of the day. Thank you. Bye-bye.